Level 1. KGB Cadet. Your life inside the KGB begins long before you ever wear the badge. It begins with silence. You are 20 years old, sitting inside a gray classroom at a secret training facility outside Moscow. The building is unremarkable from the outside, just another Soviet government structure hidden among forests and snow. But inside, the future of Soviet intelligence is being shaped. The instructors do not introduce themselves. They do not smile. They do not explain much. They simply observe. Every movement you make is being studied. Your handwriting, your eye contact, the way you respond under pressure. The KGB does not recruit ordinary officers. They recruit minds. People who can observe a room and understand what everyone inside it is thinking without a single word spoken. Your training begins immediately. You study foreign languages for hours every day. English, German, sometimes even Arabic, depending on your assignment track. You learn surveillance detection, how to follow someone through a crowded city without being seen, how to notice when someone else is following you. You learn how to recruit informants, not with threats, with psychology. People betray their countries for many reasons: money, ideology, revenge, love. Your instructors teach you to recognize each one. But the most important lesson comes during interrogation training. You sit across from another cadet pretending to be a captured spy. Your job is simple: make him talk. You try aggression first. It fails. You try intimidation. It fails again. Then your instructor leans forward and whispers something you will never forget. People don't break because you scare them. They break because you understand them. That is when you realize the KGB is not just about secrets. It is about control. Control of information, control of people, control of entire nations without firing a single bullet. By the end of your training, half the cadets who arrived with you are gone, dismissed quietly. The KGB does not tolerate weakness, but you remain. And soon your real career begins. Level 2. Junior KGB Officer. Your first assignment is not glamorous. You are stationed in Leningrad, working inside a regional KGB office, monitoring foreign diplomats. Your job is surveillance. Long hours inside parked cars, watching apartment buildings, recording movements of embassy staff. At first, it feels boring. But boredom is part of the job, because intelligence work is not about dramatic moments. It is about patience. You learn to observe tiny details others ignore. A diplomat leaving his building 5 minutes earlier than usual. A brief meeting in a cafe that lasts only 30 seconds. A letter delivered by hand instead of by post. Each detail may mean nothing or everything. One evening you notice something unusual. An American cultural attaché meets the same Soviet scientist every Thursday night. The meetings are short, too short for friendship, too regular for coincidence. You report it to your supervisor. The investigation begins quietly. Phones are tapped. Apartments are searched when occupants are away. Mail is intercepted. Within 2 weeks, the truth is clear. The scientist is passing nuclear research information to the Americans. Your report leads to his arrest. You never see him again. No one explains what happened to him. No one needs to. The message is clear. Information is power, and those who leak it disappear. Level 3. Operational Officer. By now you have proven yourself reliable, which means the KGB trusts you with something more dangerous: field operations. You are assigned to recruit informants. Your first target is a mid-level government employee working inside the Soviet Ministry of Trade. He has access to economic data valuable to foreign intelligence services. The goal is simple: turn him into your asset before someone else does. You study him for weeks, his habits, his family, his weaknesses. You discover something useful: debt. Large gambling debts. One evening you approach him outside a restaurant, not as an officer, as a concerned acquaintance. You talk casually. Then you mention his financial troubles. His reaction confirms everything. People often imagine recruitment as threats and blackmail, but the reality is subtler. You offer him help, quiet financial assistance, in exchange for small pieces of information. Nothing dangerous at first, just reports, economic projections, internal memos. He agrees. At first, he believes he is only helping a friend, but over time, the requests grow larger, more sensitive, more dangerous, and by the time he realizes the full consequences, he is already trapped. You now have your first informant, and the KGB has another pair of eyes inside the Soviet government. Level 4, Senior Operational Officer. Your career advances quickly because the KGB rewards results. You are now trusted with international assignments. Your next posting sends you to East Berlin, a city divided not just by a wall, but by ideology. On one side, NATO intelligence agencies operate constantly. On the other side, Soviet and East German intelligence services watch every move. It is the perfect battlefield for spies. Your mission is to identify Western intelligence officers operating undercover. You spend months observing diplomats, journalists, businessmen. Anyone could be a spy. Eventually, you notice a pattern. A West German journalist frequently visits a bookstore near the Berlin Wall, but he never buys books. He always leaves a folded newspaper behind. You retrieve one of them. Inside the newspaper is a coded message, a dead drop. You have discovered a communication channel between a Western agent and his informant. Your team begins monitoring the drop. Within weeks, you identify the informant, a border guard working near Check Charlie. He is arrested quietly. The journalist disappears back to West Germany before you can detain him, but the operation is still considered a success, because intelligence work is not about capturing everyone. It is about disrupting networks, and now the Western Intelligence Service must rebuild theirs from scratch. Level 5, KGB Major. By the time you reach the rank of Major, you are no longer just running operations, you are designing them. Your office is now inside a heavily secured building in Moscow. The walls are thick, the windows reinforced, and every hallway echoes with quiet footsteps of officers who understand the importance of silence. You now supervise younger operatives, the same kind of officers you once were, ambitious, nervous, eager to prove themselves. Your job is to make sure they don't make fatal mistakes. Because at this level, mistakes are not just embarrassing, they can start international incidents. One morning, a file arrives on your desk. A Soviet diplomat stationed in Paris has begun behaving strangely. His communications have become irregular. His spending habits have changed. The leadership suspects something dangerous, a possible defection. You are assigned to quietly investigate. Within days, you uncover the truth. The diplomat has been secretly meeting with French intelligence officers. He is planning to sell classified documents. You are ordered to stop him, but not publicly. The Soviet Union cannot afford a scandal. You travel to Paris under diplomatic cover. The city is beautiful, alive with cafes, music, and tourists, but you are not there to enjoy it. You track the diplomat's movements for 3 days. On the 4th night, he enters a quiet restaurant to meet his French contact. You walk in 5 minutes later and sit across from him. You don't raise your voice, you don't threaten him, you simply slide a folder across the table. Inside are photographs. Photos of his wife in Moscow, his children walking to school. The message is obvious. He understands immediately. The meeting ends quietly. Within a week, the diplomat returns to Moscow. His career is officially reassigned. Unofficially, he disappears. You never ask where. In the KGB, some questions are never asked. Level 6, KGB Colonel. At the rank of colonel, your responsibilities expand beyond individual operations. You now oversee entire intelligence networks. Dozens of agents across multiple countries report through channels that eventually lead to your desk. Your workday begins before sunrise. Encrypting reports arrive overnight from embassies, informants, and undercover operatives scattered across Europe. Each message could contain information capable of shifting the balance of the Cold War. You analyze military plans, economic intelligence, political secrets. Every piece of information is part of a larger puzzle. One winter morning, a particularly troubling report arrives. A Soviet scientist working in a nuclear research facility has begun communicating with someone outside the country. The evidence is incomplete, but the implications are catastrophic. If Western intelligence gains access to those research files, it could alter the global balance of power. You initiate Operation Silent Shield. Surveillance teams monitor the scientist 24 hours a day. His phone is tapped, his apartment searched, his friends questioned quietly. Then the breakthrough comes. The scientist has been leaving coded messages in a public library book. The Western agent retrieving them is identified as a British diplomat. The trap is set carefully. The diplomat collects the message as usual, but this time KGB officers are waiting. He is declared persona non grata and expelled from the Soviet Union within hours. The scientist is arrested. The research remains secure. Another invisible battle of the Cold War has ended without the public ever knowing it happened. Level 7. KGB Station Chief. Now you hold one of the most powerful positions in Soviet intelligence, Station Chief. You are responsible for all KGB operations in a foreign country. Your new assignment places you in Vienna. Officially, you are a senior Soviet diplomat. Unofficially, you control a network of spies operating across Central Europe. Your agents include businessmen, journalists, scientists, and government officials. Some are loyal communists. Others work for you because of money, ideology, or fear. Every week you receive secret reports from them. Some information is minor, but occasionally something appears that could change everything. One evening, a trusted informant delivers shocking intelligence. An American intelligence officer working in Europe is secretly willing to sell classified NATO documents. A double agent. The opportunity is enormous, but so is the risk. If the CIA suspects the operation, they will shut it down immediately. You spend weeks verifying the source, testing the agent, making sure it isn't a trap. Finally, the meeting is arranged. A quiet hotel room, neutral territory. The American officer arrives nervous but determined. He wants money. You want secrets. The deal begins slowly. First, small documents, then larger files. Eventually, entire strategic reports. Over the next 2 years, the double agent provides intelligence that reaches the highest levels of the Soviet government. Military planning, NATO defense strategies, political negotiations, information powerful enough to influence the entire Cold War. And yet the world outside remains unaware, because the greatest intelligence victories are the ones no one ever hears about. Level 8. KGB General. By the time you become a general in the KGB, you are no longer just an intelligence officer. You are a strategist. Your office is now inside the headquarters at Lubyanka Square in Moscow, one of the most feared buildings in the Soviet Union. From the outside, it looks like an ordinary government office, but inside, decisions are made that shape the future of nations. You now oversee multiple intelligence directorates: foreign operations, counterintelligence, surveillance, and covert influence. Thousands of officers operate under your authority. Most of them will never meet you, but their missions exist because you approved them. Your work is no longer about individual spies, it is about global power. Every morning you receive classified briefings detailing intelligence gathered from around the world. CIA operations in Europe, MI6 recruitment attempts in Asia, political instability in South America. Every piece of information is analyzed to determine how the Soviet Union can gain an advantage. One of your most important responsibilities is something the public rarely understands: influence. Not military force, not direct confrontation, but quiet manipulation. You approve operations that plant stories in foreign newspapers. You support political groups that favor Soviet interests. You fund activists, journalists, and organizations that subtly shift public opinion in Western countries. Most people will never realize their opinions were influenced by intelligence operations designed thousands of miles away. That is the true power of your position: controlling narratives without firing a single shot. But the Cold War is growing more dangerous every year, and soon the stakes will rise even higher. Level 9. Director of Foreign Intelligence. Now you sit near the very top of the Soviet intelligence structure. Few officers ever reach this level. You are responsible for coordinating KGB operations across the entire globe, from Washington to Tokyo, from Berlin to Havana. Every major espionage mission passes through your command structure. Your days are filled with briefings, strategic meetings, and intelligence analysis. But occasionally, a situation arises that demands immediate attention. One such moment occurs during a particularly tense period of the Cold War. Satellite images reveal that NATO forces are conducting massive military exercises near the Soviet border. The Kremlin fears something terrifying: a surprise nuclear attack. Your intelligence network is ordered to confirm whether the West is preparing for war. Agents across Europe are activated. Informants inside NATO headquarters report unusual troop movements. Encrypted communications increase dramatically. For several days, the Soviet leadership believes the worst may happen. But your network uncovers the truth. The exercises are only a training operation, large but not an attack. You deliver the intelligence directly to the Soviet leadership. The crisis fades, and the world unknowingly steps back from the edge of nuclear catastrophe. Moments like this remind you how fragile global stability truly is. Sometimes the difference between peace and war is a single piece of intelligence arriving at the right moment. Level 10. The Shadow of the Cold War. After decades in intelligence, you are now one of the most experienced figures inside the Soviet security apparatus. You have seen governments fall, wars begin and end, spies recruited, betrayed, and executed. But history is changing. By the late 1980s, the Soviet Union itself begins to transform. Economic pressure grows. Political reforms begin spreading across Eastern Europe. The Cold War structure that defined your entire career is starting to crack. Inside KGB headquarters, discussions become tense. Some officers believe the Soviet system must reform. Others believe the intelligence services must tighten control. You watch these debates quietly because you understand something many younger officers do not. Empires rise and fall, but intelligence work never disappears. When the Soviet Union eventually collapses in 1991, the KGB itself is dissolved. The organization that shaped your entire life officially ceases to exist. New agencies take its place, new governments form, but the skills you learned, the art of observation, recruitment, manipulation, and strategy remain valuable. Because intelligence services never truly vanish,